Hey, real estate nerds, this is Alex Yoder with Pro Tip Tuesday, my favorite day of the week. And today I want to talk a little bit more about the mindset of a landlord. And this came up because I'd had a conversation recently with a retired couple who had about 30 properties. And they went on to tell me in this conversation that when they rent to somebody, they tell the people that they are approving to move into their home, only rent this home if you are prepared for us to be involved in your lives. They tell them, only rent this property if you are ready for us to be sitting across the table from you at your Thanksgiving dinner. And that's the exact example that they gave me. And I understand that there is a relationship angle to this, and I appreciate that. And everybody has their own approach and mindset. So hey, to each their own. If that's how you do it and it works, then so be it. But they went on to also tell me that they never raise the rents on their tenants. And many of their tenants, they stay in their properties for a long, long time, in some cases over 10 years. And in fact, they said several of their tenants had been with them for over 10 years. And I guess I have a fundamental problem with that approach. In their unwillingness to disconnect, in their lack of trust for the person that they're putting in the home, they're forcing their way into these people's lives so they can keep an eye on them and how they're maintaining their properties. It's much more than just let's be nice and friends and have a relationship. A big part of it is we don't trust the people that are running our homes, and these are our babies. This is our retirement nest egg. So we are going to completely control this situation. And I've seen that in many cases on a smaller scale. I've had property owners tell me many times, Alex, I'm trying to decide if I want to rent out my property and hire you, or if I want to just let the home sit vacant for the next year while I'm out of town, finishing up a job or whatever. Because I'm terrified that they're going to destroy my house. They're going to destroy my house. And there's a part of me that appreciates this idea that if you can't let go, you shouldn't be renting out your home. But on the other hand, from a business perspective, that is not a good decision. From a financial perspective, that is not a good decision. If you look at the average amount of damage caused by a tenant versus the amount of rent that you'd be losing over an extended period of time on a long vacancy, it's a no-brainer. And similarly with this couple that I talked to with the 10 plus year tenants and all this kind of thing, if you think about rents over the period of 10 years, that's a substantial amount of properties that are under rented. Let's say that, they're, it could be $500 or even up to, $800 or more per month that they are not charging that they could based on market demand, and multiply that by 30 properties. That's a huge amount of money. And I think that if they viewed it as a business and they looked at how much money they're losing in that mindset, that they would reconsider their approach, in my opinion. I actually met with another client that had about 60 properties, and their property manager was retiring. This was last year. The property manager was retiring, and he didn't believe in rent increases either. And so you have 60 properties that haven't had a rent increase in years. When we did the math on it, and this was based off of numbers last year, they were losing about $150,000 a year in rents that they were not charging because of this previous property manager that didn't believe in increases. Now, with that being said, and I've said this in previous videos, if you have a good paying tenant who you love, who's maintaining the house, you don't necessarily want to scare them off because you're not getting dollar for dollar what the current market will allow for. But you definitely want to be doing some kind of an increase so that you are at least working your way towards fair market value. But this video is not so much about renewals, it's about mindset. If you're going to be renting out your property, be prepared to disconnect. If you can't disconnect, you probably shouldn't be renting out your property, or you probably or definitely should be hiring somebody like a property manager who can treat it like a business while you do your thing and collect your check each month. Think of this like a business. and don't kick yourself because you're trying to control everything. It actually reminds me of a whole lot of folks who struggle with letting go of control. They struggle with delegating things. Sure, nobody's going to do it quite like you do, but think about the amount of money and the amount of time that you are throwing in the trash because you need to always be in control of everything. If you really knew the reality of that and you saw the big picture impact of your wanting to control everything, would you really continue to do that? I think the answer is no, but usually you're just in the moment, and in that moment you're not prepared to hand over the reins. So that is me checking you on your mindset as a landlord and encouraging you to disconnect and to treat it like a business. That's all for today. We'll see you next week.